Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this just doesn't work. You know, I told you guys yesterday that I'm fortunate that I am constantly doing something different because I literally go crazy if I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And so people want to know, how do you have so much energy? I'll be honest with you, I think it's a lot to do with coffee and drive. You don't know how much time you have here on this planet. I could be in a car accident tomorrow and dead. I could have a heart attack and drop. I could find out I got cancer and there were no warning signs and only have a couple months left. So before I leave here, I want to leave my mark. I want to make sure that my kids are okay. I want to make sure my wife knows that I love her. And the stories that I have, I want to share them with everybody because in a way, it's kind of selfish, I guess. In a way, if you put enough out there, if you get enough people talking about you and remembering things that you did, do you really die? Because the memories and thoughts and conversations about you will still go on. So, every day I wake up, first thing I think of, besides kissing my wife, what am I going to talk about today? What challenges am I going to have? Because people are forever giving me problems that nobody else wants to solve. And I live for a challenge. I love it when somebody says you can't do something because it will drive me crazy and I'll do anything and everything to prove them wrong. So that's why I stay motivated. And it looks like the stinking Giants fan. It's funny. On our draft trip, I can't wait. We leave a week from today. After rush hour traffic, we will be on the road about 7 o'clock at night, headed to Dallas for the draft to talk nonstop football. 8 of us in an RV with one stinking New York Giant fan. And what's funny is, as bad as stuff is right now with the Cowboy fans and Dez Bryant, he's got jokes about us. Dude, do you realize that you guys went from the penthouse to the outhouse last year? You got a diva wide receiver who wants to get paid. You got an aging quarterback, Eli Manning, at the first sign of pressure heads for the ground and is a freaking turnover machine. And you got jokes on us Cowboys? Come on, man. But anyway, when I got up this morning, I saw a Facebook message from Frank. Frank had actually shared an article about the Dallas Cowboys salary cap situation and how it looks for the future, and was asking some questions on if I could kind of shed a little light on it. Well, I'll shed as much as I can, but understanding the cap, there are people that do it for a living that I'm pretty sure still don't quite understand it exactly themselves. But here's the thing. One of the reasons Dez Bryant was let go is money. They'll call it production, they'll call it, locker room issues and things like that. But in the end, a lot of it is the price tag. And I know people will say, well, you were willing to pay Sammy Watkins, $16 million. Well, I don't think they were willing to pay Sammy Watkins $16 million because that's what he got. I'm sure they lowballed him a little bit less than that, but be that as it may. They're looking at Sammy Watkins being younger and having more time. And what the Cowboys do traditionally is they backload contracts. And they end up putting in triggers so that way if they need money, they can get money. Tyron Smith, his contract, $97 million, I believe it was. The first year was only a $5 million cap hit because they gave him so much signing bonus and guaranteed money that it was prorated. That money is prorated over the life of the contract. So you're giving him money now, but you're not counting it till later. And there's triggers in there so that way if we want to restructure you, and people don't seem to understand the difference between pay cut and restructuring because they'll say, oh, this guy's such a great team player. He gave money back. It's like, no, you didn't give money back. Actually, it's a little different. What it is we're taking what's left in your contract and we're saying, here's $10 million right now today. Here's a check. And we're going to take that off and prorate that over the life of the contract. So if you have 4 years left, then that means $2.5 million is added to each of those years that's left down the road. So you can say, we're taking your $10 million salary this year, we're turning it into guaranteed money or signing bonus, and we're going to take that and spread it out over the rest of the contract. So instead of you having a $10 million cap hit, you're only having a $2.5 million cap hit. Okay? And that's one of those things that the Cowboys have done. And that works great when you need some cash, but the problem is, when you do that, if the player's not performing or down the road, you get stuck with dead money. And right now, the Cowboys have about $22 million in dead money because we kept restructuring Tony Romo's contract. And last year when he ended up retiring, instead of taking the hit all at once because we were desperate for money, they made him a June 1st cut. Because what happens then is you are separating the amount of money owed over 2 seasons. So we could have taken a $19 million cap hit last year, or we could take a $10 million last year, $9 million this year. I know it's crazy, it's confusing and all that, but that's what we did. So that's why Tony Romo is counting against the cap, $9 million. We're not actually paying him that now. It's money that was already paid, okay? So we have, currently as it stands, about $9.9 million in cap space. On our cap this year, we've got $8.9 million for Tony Romo. We've got $8 million cap hit for Dez Bryant, and they decided just to take the whole amount now. There. We've got Cedric Thornton with $2 million. We've got Nolan Carroll with $2 million. And Benson Maya, I think, is $1.1 million. So it comes out to $22 million in dead money. Now, if you held on to Dez Bryant, you would have paid him $16 million this year, and then you would still have to deal with the cap issue next year if you went ahead and cut him, which means you would still be taking another cap hit. So to keep Dez Bryant for one more year wouldn't cost you just the 16. It would also cost you the money on top of it next year. You see my point? We lost $8 million this year in dead money because we cut him because of the contract. I don't have the exact number, but it's probably close to the $8 million next year. So do you want to pay Dez Bryant $24 million for one more season on your cap? Or do you go ahead and take that $8 million now? Or if you play him for 2 years, you've got $32 million. And the problem is, we've got young stars. Dak Prescott performs this year. Dak Prescott is going to be in line for quarterback money like everybody else. Zeke Elliott is in line to get paid as well. So these are prove-it years for those guys. You have to decide if you believe that DeMarcus Lawrence is the real deal. And I believe that he's going to play on the franchise tag this year because the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, have been burned when they've signed the big contracts. They haven't gotten out of them what you would hope. So I think they're willing to pay him the 17 this year as a prove-it deal because he's had an injury past. His rookie year, he had injuries, came on against the Lions. Next year, played fantastic, 8 sacks. The next year, he had the PED suspension for 4 games, back injuries, off-season surgery. Then all of a sudden, boom, he had 14 and a half. And they're looking at this like Miles Austin. Miles Austin had a fantastic year. Looked like he was going to be a great wide receiver. Even though he had an injury past, they paid him. Well, unfortunately, the injured past became the present again. And they never got value for him. So the Cowboys are trying to get better with the cap and manage the situation. And getting Dez Bryant cut, as painful as it was part of that. It's basically $24 million you can really save between this year and next year by cutting him now. They would have had to pay. They only had to pay 8. So, in the end, if we want to win, we have to understand we can't be in cap hell. We have to have money to pay the guys that are most valuable on the team and make sure that they're going to be able to get production for the money that they're paying. Understand this. New England has no problem getting rid of anybody. In fact, they would rather get rid of somebody than pay him. Right now, Gronkowski is mulling retirement, but what it's really about is he wants to get paid. And don't be surprised. If they can find a trading partner, Gronk will be out of there. Believe it. They understand, hey, it's better for us to get draft picks in return and do without him for a year than play him for one more year and get nothing out of him. That's the difference of winning and losing. And that's the lesson that we have to learn. Letting Dez Bryant go right now, we got nothing. Absolutely nothing. If we had looked at this the year before, could have gotten draft picks and things. And that's why the Seattle Seahawks will trade Earl Thomas. Flat out. It's how you have to keep reloading your team. Like it, hate it, whatever, it's the reality of the NFL. It's nothing personal. It's just business. I'm Mark Holmes. I got to let these dry while I go out and run some errands. I'll see you guys later.